Good morning and welcome to Wise Women Weekdays.
Hello, we've pressed the remote and took ourselves by surprise.
I didn't think it was going to work.
Welcome. Today we're going to look at cycles and cyclical living and how we can use the various cycles to really enhance our lives when we harness certain stages of a cycle. And acknowledge that we're always linked to these cycles, and it's amazing how much more smoothly life can run. So I'm Lianne, wise woman today with Lucy.
Yes, and Cosmo and Molly as always.
And Cosmo and Molly.
He's not a woman, but he is wise.
Are you wise?
No, she's not. She's as daft as a brush.
Well, so am I actually, but
yes, me too. But yeah, wisdom is something that I think has left the building.
It'll come.
It'll come.
I'm a life and wellbeing coach, and I specialise in somatic practices. And so anything that I'm interested in, usually looking into how can you really embody it and use it in a way that you're speaking to your subconscious. And what I love about the cycles is it's in us, it's in our subconscious, it's a language that we know, our bodies know, and when you bring it into the conscious, then it awakens it awakens the energy that's available as well. So
Yes.
Tell us about you before we go any
So
further.
I don't really know much about this, so I was going to ask questions and hopefully learn something. But I do know that following the pagan wheel of the year and actually paying attention to what comes up. So at this time of the year, around winter solstice, which is the darkest part of the year, going inwards, lighting the house up with beautiful lights and candles, sleeping a lot, eating really warming foods, and self-nurturing, taking time to reflect. Because when we're in the darkest part of the year, there's a lot going on underground, preparing for the new year. And we need to be in that cycle. So when we hit Imbolc for rebirth, we're ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think it's that there's layers on layers because there's cycles within cycles. And it's like, this time of year we start to ramp up to this massive celebration, which is great because it's also, you're welcoming in the light as we turn into the solstice. But if we acknowledge also that it's not that we don't have, that we have less energy or that there's less energy around, but it is underground. It's all that kind of, that restful, nurturing, it's a yin energy that is like it's the feminine, nurturing, cooling, deeply wise energy that if we pay attention to that, then like you say, we're going to have that when we're ready to take action. And also in this time, it's a really good time to ask, like, what lights me up, as the lights come in, what really personally lights you up, what is it that makes your heart sing, what are your physical plans. So when it comes to Imbolc, and with the Imbolc, we're still in the winter at that time, but the shoots are beginning to show.
The snowdrops.
So it's not full on, on your, on your marks, get set, go, until spring, and then you get the spring equinox that then it's like, and if you've nurtured yourself well, if you've aligned your dreams and your values, then whatever action you take is fueled by that.
Yes.
Now what we often do in our culture is we don't really respect this section of the wheel.
No,
so
don't.
It can often be seen as lazy or but we do really revere action and doing and progression. We have lights on 24 hours, we have that. And we talked about this in the yin yang talk, didn't we? So it's like we lack this often, And it doesn't mean that we just have to stop everything. It's just recognising even that balance, you know, just take a little bit extra time, make sure you get restful sleep, see if you can even take 10 minutes in a day to do something like put the legs up against the wall and nourish your adrenal. So it's not like it's all or nothing, you know, but recognising, okay, I'm feeling tired, I've had a really big day, where can I get more rest tomorrow? And even consciously sitting for 10 minutes and nurturing and resting is really different from collapsing and just going, oh, I'll just have a quick cup of tea and I'll get on. You know, just that moment, oh, I'll just breathe really deeply then, I'm just going to be quiet or meditate. It's amazing how that can really see you through this period. So, but it sounds like you're tuned in, even though you say you don't know much about it.
I did that last night actually. I went to bed an hour earlier than I usually do, which is 9 o'clock normally, but I went to bed about 8 because I just felt like I needed to rest. But I didn't go to sleep, I just laid there with the curtains open, looking at all the lovely Christmas lights at the back of my estate through the trees, and it was just twinkly and beautiful. Wow. And I felt like I was, you know, really rejuvenating in that period.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you acknowledge that as well, then you're taking in the good of it, because that's another kind of part of the cycle that we often miss in our culture, is the celebration and the assimilation. Like when something does happen, when we have achieved something, taking that time to really pause and bring it in. So like when you're recognising, I'm really resting now, I'm really enjoying this, acknowledging it and really letting it sink into your body. Because we're very, very conditioned to have this fast pace, do, progress, keep going, and we don't miss out the full. We're missing out on the magic of the cycle. So
yes,
you know, just it is obvious. There is a time to let go. There's a time to reflect. Like in the autumn time, there is that time to, what am I going to take round the wheel again, and what am I going to release. And the autumn time as well, we have this cycle in the 24-hour clock. We'll have it within this conversation. You know, it's like when you really become aware of it, whatever, if you cook a meal, you're going from, right, let's clear the kitchen, let go of what we don't need, prepare the space, you know what you're cooking, then you've got the action stage where you cook, and then you've got the celebration of eating. And so it's always happening, and there's always a cycle to support, so that, you know, like you say with the pagan wheel,
yes,
you've got that constantly, and then within this time we've also got action and you know, a time to celebrate, assimilate, to let go. So yeah, it's recognising where am I in this, you know, how can I use it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So yeah, because I think over the summer, as we move through the wheel of the year, when it gets to that brightest part of the year between solstice and the first harvest festival, I feel too much happens, and I'm doing too much all the time because there is so much light. So I start the day earlier, I finish the day later. I noticed just on my phone, on the steps counter thing, over the summer months I will easily walk up to 20,000 steps a day.
Right, okay.
In the winter it goes right down to 2,500. Because the dogs don't want to go out as much. Not that I advocate taking dogs out in hot weather, but they do want to go for walks earlier in the morning and in the evening.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty in touch, it sounds like, as well, because I know when we were talking last time, you were saying, like, you know, if you get your yoga practice, you always feel better, and it sort of fuels you for the day.
Apart from yesterday, it absolutely wiped me out.
Did it?
Yeah.
What did you do then?
I did I went and did just a vinyasa flow. We focused on the core, and I think it's where I've actually wanted to go into hibernation. I walked to the yoga studio and back, which is 6,000 steps, did the class, had coffee, chatted, and when I got back by midday, I was absolutely on the floor, exhausted, and stayed on the sofa for the rest of the day.
And I think it is again, like, you might do that another day and feel amazing.
Yes.
And that's what I love when you just tune in, like, you know, where am I? How can I draw from another section of the wheel to really support this? Because within every cycle you've got like that flow that feeds, and then you've got also that you draw. It doesn't always go in order. You draw, so you've got like a control cycle that you draw from as well. And just recognising that and going, okay, there would have been a point your body would be telling you, do you know what?
Yeah.
Let's stop. And I think, you know, it's just checking in, and you just get more aware the more we just keep checking in and asking, I guess. But yeah. And also, the other thing that I particularly this year learned loads about is the 24-hour cycle.
Is that the circadian rhythms that every animal and plant lives to, but everyone's circadian rhythm is unique, right?
Yeah, and, well, this is what, actually, it's interesting you said that, because the circadian, the rhythm that I experimented with was having these 3 stages of the day, where from when you wake up to about 8-9 hours after, that's when we're really geared to action and wakefulness and really simple things like getting out in the morning and getting light on the retina.
Okay.
You're already prepping your body to release melatonin in the evening.
Right.
So you've got this kind of hormonal signature at different times of the day. So in the morning you want to have like a cortisol dump almost. You get it all in one go, so your cortisol's high. And that's it's like a precursor for adrenaline, but it gives you that wakefulness, that ability to have action. And anyway, I listened to it. There's a guy called Andrew Huberman. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a Harvard professor.
I have heard.
He's very hard-nosed science.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think he can be a bit blinded by the science, because even when I took on board some of what he said and practiced it, and yet my friend who did it said it was just awful for her. She's a night owl, and it didn't work, you know. So again, I think it's really important. It's like, well, what is my rhythm? What really works for me? But the thing that really made sense for me, I like getting light in the retina that tells your body, okay, it's morning, and doing all my screen time at that time of the day, because I get really affected. Even if I watch a film at night, I can't sleep. And then come after 8-9 hours of waking, your serotonin levels should start to kick in, your cortisol should have dropped, and that's more relaxing thing. So it's a great time to do like a yoga nidra, even take 15 minutes just to
a yoga
to rest.
nidra in the morning?
No, in the afternoon. If you do, that's a really good time just to break. So you're still awake, but you get into a restful. It's a great time to meditate. Well, for me, this really worked. And I think what they've found in studies, for the majority of people it does. But again, like anything else, there's no absolutes. It's just like you really have to check in. What's right for me? How did that feel? And then when you get to the 3rd stage of the day, which is like 14, 15 hours in, you start to lower the lights. If you can, just stay off computers. Also, if you get out into when the sun's low on the horizon again, your body, you're particularly light in the retina, so it's not about being in front of a window. It's like, go outside at that time. As it's going dark, particularly that last hour, it really prepares your body. And in fact, and this does work, it worked for me, if I go out then and I get the light in the retina, I find if I do watch a film later on, it doesn't have the same...
Okay.
It's almost like my body's prepared and the melatonin's ready. So it was really...
Do you think going out at twilight, as the sun's setting, is probably better than taking something like a sleeping medication because it's resetting the brain, producing melatonin.
Yeah, because they even showed with you can buy melatonin, can't you, as a supplement as well?
Oh, okay,
like it's
I
like
didn't
more
know
of a
that.
natural one, but they still found in their studies, just like when you take a sleeping pill, you don't get that deeply the REM sleep, that rapid eye movement, the dream sleep. And again, I'm regurgitating a bit here. I'm not an expert on this at all, but I just, I'm really interested in cycles. And when I heard this, I thought, okay, I'm going to experiment with this. And it absolutely worked for me because I can get my sleep knocked off really quickly. And I've found that my sleep's been really so much better, and I don't have those nights where I'm just like, which can easily happen if I go a bit too late on the computer, if I'm watching my phone late, it's like just big no-nos for me.
See, I have more trouble with staying awake. Waking up is a problem for me. It takes me ages to wake up, and I can go to sleep at any point of the day and sleep deeply, and again have trouble waking up.
Oh, okay. And do you find if you sleep better, you feel better afterwards, or?
Sometimes, not always. With this weird illness that I've had over the last few weeks, I don't think it's the dreaded lurgy.
Right.
But it could be. Could have been. I have just been fatigued. I could sleep around the clock. So fatigued.
Oh, right. I mean, what might be? Do you get out quickly when you get up in the morning, or?
Yes, because I have to take the dogs out.
So you usually go out early anyway. Yeah. Okay. So you're doing the other thing that I heard as well is if you're a coffee drinker, do you like coffee?
I only have 1 or 2 a week now, rather than 2 a day.
Oh right. Okay. Because I've heard that if you wait at least an hour and a half after you've woken up, you allow that natural waking to come before you kind of stimulate yourself. But yeah, I don't know. It might be worth kind of experimenting a bit with what works when and what helps. Have you always been like that?
I've always been like it. My daughter, my eldest daughter's like it as well. She can sleep round the clock, and it was a really unusual thing for a baby to sleep as much as she did. I'd put her down. This is from the age of about 3 to 6 months, once she was on solid food. I'd put her down at 10:30 at night, and she'd be asleep till 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow! Okay.
Then she'd wake up, have a feed, and then go back to sleep.
Okay.
Until lunchtime.
Oh, wow! So
and
you're lucky.
Not much has changed.
You've never had the other problem then of not being able to sleep.
No.
Alright, that's a gift, I think. Because usually it's the other way. People are like, oh, just that battle with it, that restlessness it can be torture, But
I wonder if that has something to do with. I've been diagnosed with dyspraxia. I don't know how true these diagnoses are, because everybody seems to be diagnosed with a neurodiversity these days.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's more of a trend than an actual thing. So it's possible that I have dyspraxia, and because my brain has to work so much harder to do normal tasks, I feel tired more often.
Yeah, and I think as well because I think often we can overlook the fact that modern day living doesn't actually suit a natural rhythm anyway, and I think that's why there are so many more people suffering from neurodiverse conditions, because actually we're overstimulated, we're constantly on the go, it's progression, we're not able to really link in with when do I really want to wake up, because you're not really, ideally you shouldn't be waking up with an alarm clock.
No, because that could be really quite damaging to do that for a long period of time when you're in deep REM sleep, to be woken up by an alarm clock. There was a book called Why Do We Sleep? I think the author of that touches on the waking up with an alarm clock. I only set an alarm clock if I absolutely have to.
And also those natural ones, have you seen that? Because I've got one, and if I have to use it, the light starts to come on really, really gently about 20 minutes before, and it rarely gets to the point that you can choose like bird song or gentle music, whatever you want. And it rarely gets to that before I'm awake, because the light gently tells your brain, it's time to wake up. And that's a really nice way, because that
it's a jolt back into reality, and it's harsh.
I told my sister off the other week for this, but she has the radio on, and when I stayed at her house, I got up and I heard it go on. I thought, it's the news. So when you're in that state where your brain, as you're coming out of sleep, you're in theta, which is the most suggestive. So as you go to sleep and as you wake up, your brainwave goes into that state where it's used in hypnotism when you're most suggestive, and you really don't want to be waking up with the news.
No.
But and in fact, it's a really good time to listen to affirmations as you're going to sleep. You can make your own. You can, because it's that beautiful time as you're going in there. It'll really help to work with that, with the rhythm, the natural rhythm of the brainwaves as you fall asleep and as you go back. Again, you've got a cycle there.
Yeah. And
it's ways that we can use the sections of the cycles to enhance, even when you're in bed.
Yeah. And I listen to meditations as I go to sleep, with positive affirmations.
Yeah.
Loving kindness, mindfulness. I don't really like the word mindfulness.
No,
I'm not sure. It's
overused now.
Yeah, it's a bit overused. It's one of those.
I think we get bored of them, don't we? Because you hear them, and then after a while you think, "Oh, I'm sick of that one now."
Wellness.
Yeah, wellness is
wellness.
The thing now. Yeah. But that the other thing with the circadian rhythm that really helped with sleep was we're supposed to sleep in a cool room, because your temperature has to drop to go to sleep. So having a cold bedroom and dark, because if you've got any kind of light on, melatonin won't release.
That's not true for me.
Is that not true?
No, I have a cold bedroom. I open the windows and then I put my electric blanket on over the winter. But I can't sleep in complete darkness.
What do you have, like a little...
I have, at the moment, I have a light-up Christmas star hanging in my window.
Yeah.
So I have that on, and it casts like a dappled light across the room.
Oh, wow, okay. I love hearing this as well, because it is that thing, there are no absolutes, and it's really important, and even if it's for the majority, it's really important with everything you do, go, does this work for me? Try it, see what happens, and that's why sometimes, I think it is, don't be blinded by science.
Yes, there's more to it.
Whatever you try, whatever you experience, you will always find all the scientific data to back it up as well. I was, we were talking to somebody the other day about how any diet that you have, you will find all the scientific evidence why you should be on this diet and why it's the best.
But you will also find scientific evidence to say why it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why more than ever, I think in this time, it's really important that we get used to going, how was that for me? How did that work? Listen to your body and live your life like an experiment. It's like, we'll try that.
But also when you read something that's supposed to be grounded in science, who has funded that research?
Yes.
And what is the motivations for that that group or that organisation, person funding that research?
Because there's very little independent research done, because you don't have the funding, and often if they go out to do that, the funding will be taken off them if it's not. Because often it's a case of, this is what we want to prove, and that's your kind of brief. I mean, it's a little bit simplistic maybe, but I think it's really important. It's like, where did it come from? Who was it for? Who funded this? Because money directs things in a certain way, and you can prove, if you really want to, you will prove something. So, and I think it is really useful to have information. It's great to educate yourself and keep a wide spectrum, but at the end of the day, put it into practice. Don't just have it as information in your head, because it's just clogging up your mind, you know, that's what I love about somatics, is then take it on board, you know, go and try out those stages of the day. You know, if you're
Could
somebody...
you remind me what somatics means? Because that's quite a big word.
It's body felt experience. Okay. So so for example, yoga, meditation, emotional freedom technique, EMDR,
Yes.
you know, that rapid eye movement.
Yeah.
It's all ways of dropping into the body. I would say it's experiential then, really, because it's, you know, so great, you learn about these, you know, what we've been talking about, this cycle. It's like, how do I put that into practice for me? You know, where in my day can I make sure that I've got that complete cycle? Or in this project, am I prepared enough? You know, have I let go? Have I made space? Have I really got clear on my dream? What's the action? You know, because, you know, often as well, depending on your personality type, you can be more of a dreamer and never quite get to that stage. And then what tends to happen is you go back to the prep again. So we're great at going getting our, you know, notebooks and the pens and prepping it all. But then when it comes to the action, is that the stage that you need a little bit of help? Or you can get, you know, a friend that's got that strong energy. Like in the 5 elements, it's the wood energy that it comes up in the spring. It's really direct, clear, directional, and that's what we want to have after we've aligned. You know, in order to get to that place where there's the, you know, the achievement, the celebration, the kind of assimilation of it. So it's like, well, practice. You know, what really works for you, and how do you feel? What sort of state of being does it put you in? Does it, and even though we're so different, I think at the end of the day, we all know what love, to be in love with life feels like, to feel like we've got a place, to feel like we've got a purpose, to feel kind, generous, respectful. It's like, those are the feelings, I believe, that are going to bring humanity together. And if you're doing things that create that, keep doing that. It works. If you feel in good health, and good health doesn't necessarily mean being without illness or disease. Good health is like, well, what's your attitude to it? What are you doing that really nourishes you?
Yes.
And I think cyclical living really is a big part of that, you know.
Because I think in our modern day society, I watched a young woman on YouTube or TikTok or one of the platforms talking about how she was struggling moving into a 9-to-5 lifestyle, and how she had no time, and she was really distraught about that. And I remember feeling a similar way when I was in my teens and realising that this 9-to-5 drudge could be the rest of my life. And felt broken by it, and I had a lot of empathy for this girl, and I think she was struggling because she was out of rhythm. She lived through her childhood and her early teens in tune with her own rhythm, and now she was living to the imposed rhythm.
And that's it's a very masculine rhythm, and in fact it suits more of a masculine energy, which most men will have more of, you know, and that, again, there are no absolutes, because we've all got masculine and feminine energy in, but for most women it is really detrimental. You know, a bit like you when you're on your cycle, you know, you get to that point, you're on your period, and actually you should be stopping, you should be going within, you should be having that restful time before that happens. And when women begin to really follow that cycle, that's when they'll find they've got more energy, that their weight will be more stable, that they'll thrive. And our society doesn't bring that into any. It's just not there within our day-to-day 9-to-5, achieve, keep going. You know, have a month off if you're in full-time employment. It really doesn't. So. However, and again, the good news is it's not that you've got to give up your job or it's finding ways that work for you. Be creative with it, but if you bring it in, And also known if you're postmenopausal, then follow the moon cycles.
Yes,
That's when we can really
always
notice
follow
that.
the moon cycles.
Yeah.
And I've had, following this moon cycle, I've had a manifested something really quite special. And I feel really proud of it. I only had a candle lit under the moon for the less than a week from the new moon to the beginning of the waxing phase. And what I was manifesting has come in.
Wow. So what did you do? Did you leave your candle on for the duration?
I have these little tiny, they're about this big, meditation candles, and I light it, I say 3 times what it's that I'm manifesting with the help of the moon, and in it comes. And it came in with such speed this time, which brings in what you were saying about the cycles of astrology, and we've moved from, did you say Earth?
We're going to move into Earth, so we're in that kind of transition, but next year, 2024, energy's going to pick up, it's going to get faster. We are, and we're already feeling it now, we're kind of in that, and as we come up to the solstice, it's always that transition time, because we're going into winter. But in astrology, that there's cycles within cycles again, and we're coming into a time where we're going to manifest quicker and quicker. So whether it's positive or negative, we're really going to see our thoughts playing out and coming to us faster. So in this period of time, the more clarity we can get and begin to play with it, like you say, it's great. When something happens like that, that's a somatic experience, because it's like you'll have felt it. It's like, oh my God, that I really created that. And now you know how that happens. You've got more belief in it. Now you've got more belief in it. It will, your intention is really behind it. So you can keep going with it, keep rolling with it. So I think it's a lovely way to live, and you can just keep drawing on following your bliss, what works for you, and like that thing is there kindness, compassion, respect in those feelings of love and joy and delight, because when you're like that, you're more generous, you're more understanding of other people, of differences, you've got more tolerance. So all of that, every time we're feeding ourselves like that, we're helping humanity, really. So time to get happy.
It is, because I can't remember who it was I was listening to the other day. They were, Jordan Peterson talking to Joe Rogan about listening to intuition, and he was saying he's such a wise man, Jordan Peterson.
I love him.
Yeah, I do. And he's one of those interesting characters that gets labelled extreme right wing and misogynistic, because the powers that be don't want him to speak and for people to wake up and follow his word. He was, sorry, I digress. He was talking about following your intuition, and if we can all follow our intuitions, then we will all change as human beings, and therefore we can change the human race. I hope I've got that right. Jordan Peterson, if I've got it wrong, come and educate me. I'd love to have you on the sofa.
I'm sure he meant to say it just like that. No, it does, it makes sense. And I think as well, because what tends to happen in our culture is things get screamed at us again and again and again, and if you shout something loud enough and long enough, people would start to believe it and start to live by it. And I think a good rule of thumb is when anything's really pushed on you, give yourself some space, step back from it, because that's my rule. It's like if there's a strong narrative coming through, like the mainstream news or I don't know, the latest whatever it is, for me, I just immediately go, if I carry on being bombarded with this, I'm not going to be able to hear my own voice. It's going to invoke my fear, and a lot of the time it is that. It will be fear-based. So it's just like, just step aside and take back your power, and remember, we create this world. We do it. We create the, the powers that be. We create the imbalance, and every time every one of us gets into our rhythm, our way of being, our way of living and honouring this life, because if you love something, you take care of it, and if we really love life, and that's the key, and it's a win-win, and it should be win-win.
Because I turned off mainstream media back in 2020 while we were going through that really dark, controlling period of history, and I looked at what was going around me, and now I trust the empirical data that I observe myself. I don't need to be told. That's so important as well, because it's like those things are a reality, but are they your reality? Yes.
And again, it's like I could go out now deciding that people are really rude and don't like me, and I will find all the evidence to back that up, and I can go out now and go, everybody loves me. I love that practice pronoia, like life works for me, everything's that people are really kind, and I'll find that. And that's the thing, it's like all those things are true, but which reality do you want to live in? And the more that you have a clear intention, I love that. Do you mind? I'm not my most wisest.
You're
and you're being so rude.
He's a terrible animal.
But yeah, we can really enjoy life, be in love with life, and spread and make a difference, I think. So.
Yes.
And cyclical living is a great way to go. Go to sleep when you want to go to sleep. Rest when you need to.
His circadian rhythm is sleep 20 to 22 hours a day, wake up to eat, and go to the toilet. That's about it. I really have to coax him out for a walk at this time of year. If it's raining, he's like, I love dogs that do that. Yeah. They're just like, really? When I came in earlier, because she doesn't mind going for a walk in the rain, it was like literally rain coming off my hood, and he's like, told you so.
What did he stay in? Brilliant. So I guess we're kind of, I don't know, you got any other questions or anything else to say?
No, I don't think so. I like to finish on a fun note and ask a silly question. Like, so, is there any men in this world that you think are super hot at the moment?
Super hot.
It doesn't have to be on looks, but like what they've got going on in their brains.
Well, I have to say, what's his name? God. Who played Ken in Barbie? Have you seen Barbie?
Ryan Gosling.
I think he's really fun. He's really, really funny in that movie, and he's really got to me. I thought he played Ken so well. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I felt really sorry for the Kens.
I did, but exactly. But the way he took that and the way he played it, I really enjoyed it. I love My Name's Ken. And that's like, I keep playing that in the car. It's like, come on, Ken. So yeah. And in fact, I was Christmas Barbie at the weekend. We had our party at the stables. So I was Christmas Barbie, and my partner and another guy dressed up as Ken and did a Ken number. So
excellent.
It's really on my mind. Yeah, him. Can't think of anyone else. I like Jordan Peterson. I think he's a hot guy. I really do. He's lovely.
I'm actually quite liking Tim Kenny, who was on the Joe Rogan show ages ago. Oh, Joe Rogan, of course. There's something really special about him.
Yeah, he's no bullshit, is he? I love the way he's just that. Like, he's not trying to impress anyone. He cannot not be honest. I love those qualities in people, especially men, when it's just like that. I'm just saying it how it is, and or how I see it. He never feels like a bully or you've got to come along with me. It's just like, hey, this might be a bit uncomfortable. Let's talk about it. And
he just lays it out as he sees it. He doesn't expect you to follow it. And I like what he's been saying. He says, I'm on the left, but I keep getting labelled a right-wing conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. It's so interesting though that I don't know, just that the labelling or the telling of the story, because it's, and you know, and it happens all the time. It's like it's the goodie, the baddie, the this, the that, and actually, yeah, I remember doing this, you know, the hero's journey. Have you ever heard of the hero's journey, where most films follow this kind of, it's an ancient pattern in mythology where, you know, that you start with everyday life and then the hero or the heroine, whatever it is, it will have a challenge come to them, and there's a point they step over the threshold, like, you know, I don't know, in the film Everyday Life, they're cleaning their teeth, they're going to work, and then suddenly their child gets kidnapped, and there's that moment where they have to make a decision. They step over the threshold and they go into a journey, which you see we have in life all the time, and then there's always ups and downs, and then at the end of it there's always a conclusion where you either win, you lose, like the hero wins, or they die, or there's like a comic sort of ending. I can't remember why I'm saying this. Why am I saying this?
I don't know. I've lost
it was
track.
Something really profound.
Yeah, because I was waiting for the point, and then we kind of went in a cycle around it.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to remember on the way home. What did I say before then? Just hang on, because
it's coming.
It's really important. It was something about. Oh yes, that was it. It is really good. Wait. Don't pause.
Yeah, don't
stop.
switch
Wait.
off.
Stop. Yes. Anyway, I went to. It was a talk on this, or a workshop, and they were saying how, you know, you always have the nemesis, the protagonist, and the nemesis. And so, for example, you can tell a story of, you know, the wicked stepmother who, you know, was horrible to Cinderella, and she was really mean and blah, 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 and it's very black and white. And then you can say, this poor woman who became a stepmother, she started off as a really poor girl, and when she went to school, everybody laughed at her and bullied her, and she always wanted a place and always ended up second best, and she had a beautiful sister that, you know, was perfect and clever, and then when she grew up, she got married to someone she finally really loved, and they died, and then she became a stepmother, and suddenly you kind of understand, there's another side to it. It's like, well, who? And then suddenly she's in this family where there's these, you know, her own daughters are just bickering all the time, and then there's this beautiful daughter that gets all, and you've suddenly seen it from a completely different angle. And it's like, it's really good to kind of ask yourself that all the time. It's like, what is the story here? Is it really black and white? What's the other side of this? That's what I wanted to say. Are you blown away?
Yeah, I am.
I can see you looking at me. I know, you should have left 10 minutes ago. Sorry.
No, so what I'm drawing from that, there's always more than one story.
Yes,
and
that's it.
what we should try and do is have compassion for all of the people in a particular relationship cycle.
Well wrapped up.
Because the evil stepmother has a backstory.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, we get to a certain age, and I know women over 40 are absolutely sick of everybody else's shit. And I mean, I've got a meme with Kate Blanchett on it, and it's my screensaver on my computer. It says exactly that.
Yeah.
And it's there because that is how I feel. I am absolutely sick of everyone's shit. And it might come out like I am the evil Karen or the evil stepmother. But
that's what I wanted to say. Sorry it took so long, but that's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cycle though, isn't it?
Like
It's a
that.
thought process cycle. My thought process cycles are often interrupted. And then I think we should finish on this. There was that lovely film, The Best Marigold Hotel. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And the lead character, he says, oh gosh, now I'm at it.
Wait, don't go yet.
Don't go yet. Wait for the profound.
I'll sum up what she said.
Let's drum roll. if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Yay!
Yay!
If it's not all right.
Well, maybe
it's
I
not the
haven't
end.
quoted him exactly, because everything is all right in the end.
If you live with the cycle.
If you live with your cycle, follow your thought cycles.
Thanks for joining
Thanks
us.
for joining
If
us.
you're still with us, please subscribe, give
Like
us a
us.
like, make a comment, let us know what you think, except for that last bit. And see you soon.
Yes.
On Wise Women.
And if you don't
Weekdays.
like us, like and subscribe anyway.
Yes, please. Yeah, and if you've enjoyed this, tell all your friends, and if you haven't, please keep it to yourself. Bye.
Bye.